Hey, sixth graders, happy Friday. Congratulations, you made it through your second week of classes. Nice job. I'm so proud of your work this week. I wanted to make a quick video just to give you some feedback and a couple of reminders before you dive into your independent practice today. So please make sure you watch this video really carefully and you have your notes ready to go. We'll take a few notes today too. Before we dive into that feedback and a couple of hints and clues, just know that your independent practice today, which is on the next page of this Google form, is a quiz. It covers all of the learning from this week. So if you don't have all of your notes handy right now, please pause the video and go get your notes from the other lessons this week and make sure you have them with you. That's just going to help you as you take your quiz today. It's just going to help you do a better job and remember all of the good learning that you've done this week, okay? I want to go ahead and talk a little bit about absolute value one more time. This week we learned what absolute value was, and that's already in our notes, but I want to review specifically the notation because it's something that some of us have been missing on our independent practice, and it will be on your quiz, so I want to make sure we cover it one more time. I pulled up a Khan Academy review page, which I will link in this Google form if you want to look at it yourself. And it's a really good introduction to what absolute value is. So go ahead and follow along with me. The goal here says learn how to think about absolute value as distance from zero. So that's what we're doing today. And that's what we did this week. Just as a reminder, the absolute value of a number is its distance from zero. That's the definition of absolute value. So let's go ahead and just record that on our paper. This is math review. And today is April 10th. Okay. I'll look one more time at my definition. The absolute value of a number is its distance from zero. Go ahead and write that with me. The absolute value of a number is its distance from zero. So if I said what's the absolute value of the number 12, you would think about or draw 12 on a number line and think about how many spaces away from zero is 12. 12 is 12 spaces away from zero. So the absolute value of 12 is 12. Okay, let's look at a few examples. This gets even more fun with negative numbers. Okay. For example, the absolute value of 4 is 4. You can see that on the number line here. So the number line is a great strategy to use when finding absolute value. 4 is 4 spaces away. This seems kind of obvious, true. Of course, the distance from 0 to 4 is 4. Where absolute value gets interesting is with negative numbers. For example, the absolute value of negative 4 is also 4. So here's 0, here's negative 4. The distance is 4. Okay. What does this mean? This means absolute value is always positive. Okay. So let's practice. What is the absolute value of 3? The absolute value of 3 is 3. That's because from 0 to 3 on the number line is 3 spaces. Nice. What is the absolute value of negative 3? Hopefully you said 3. Okay. What is the absolute value of 4.7? Think about 4 7/10 on a number line. How many spaces away from 0 is it? It is 4.7 away from 0. So the absolute value of 4.7 is 4.7. Okay. This isn't too difficult. Where some scholars were getting tricked this week is on the absolute value notation or the symbol for saying absolute value. The symbol for absolute value is a bar. It looks like this on each side of the number. For example, instead of writing the absolute value of negative 6, we can just write this symbol right here. When I read it the absolute value of negative 6. Okay, so let's practice. Take a look at this question. It says, what is bar 7 bar? I read it as, what is the absolute value of 7? I'm thinking, how far away from 0 is 7? It's 7 spaces away. The absolute value of 7 is 7. Okay. Let's go ahead and write this question on our notes together. I'm going to write, let's see, example. The absolute value of 7, again, I'm not writing the words, I'm using that notation we're learning, equals 7. Okay, let's try another one. What is the absolute value of negative 13? Go ahead and write this question on your paper. Okay, check your work with mine. The absolute value of negative 13 is 13. That's because negative 13 is 13 spaces away from 0. All right, last one we'll practice here. What is the absolute value of negative 75.8? Go ahead and write that one down on your paper. Excellent. What I want you to do now, this says problem 2C. Underneath this video, there are a couple of questions. Please go ahead and write down the answer to this question in the Google form below. So pause the video and type in the answer to this question, and then scroll back up and keep watching the video. Excellent. You should have typed in 75 and 8/10. That is the correct answer. Okay. Let's get a little bit spicier. You'll also see questions that ask you to compare absolute values and or compare numbers. So I want to show you an example of that. In order to do this, you need to know what the inequality signs mean. So let's do this example together. Let's compare the absolute value of 4 and the absolute value of negative 2 using an inequality symbol. So I'm going to make sort of like a subtitle here that I'm going to compare values using inequality symbols. Here's example 1. The absolute value of 4 is, I'm going to leave a space, I don't know greater or less than yet, is something than negative 2. All right, so in order to compare with an inequality symbol, let's just find the value of these absolute values. So what is the absolute value of 4? The absolute value of 4 is 4. What is the absolute value of negative 2? The absolute value of negative 2 is 2. If I were going to use an inequality symbol to compare 4 and 2, I would say 4 is greater than 2. So therefore, the absolute value of 4 is greater than the absolute value of negative 2. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and drop in my greater than symbol. Oops. Awesome. I may also be asked to order the following numbers from least to greatest. You were asked that, in fact, on your independent practice from, I think, April 7th. You were asked to put these numbers in order from least to greatest. So let's go ahead and do that now. Go ahead and write down question number 3 on your paper. And please write down all of these answer choices, and we're going to go ahead and put them in order together. So how about the absolute value of negative 2.7? And please write down the absolute value of negative 1, 1 3/10, 0, and 2. All right. In order to put these in order from least to greatest, I'm going to actually go ahead and find the value of these two that are in absolute value bars. So the absolute value of negative 2 7/10 is 2 7/10. The absolute value of -1 is 1. Now I'm going to put these numbers in order from least to greatest. I'm thinking about a number line as I'm doing this. Okay? I always put 0 on my number line, and actually all of these values are positive. So I'm going to put my 0 over here on this side. Okay, I've got that one. Which one comes next? Yep, 1. Which one comes next? 1.3, or 1 3/10. Then 2, and then 2.7. Okay. So in order from least to greatest, this one is first, second, third, fourth, and fifth. So that question that you had on your independent practice, your answer should look like this. My least number was 0, that one came first. Then the absolute value of -1 came second. Remember, that turned into a +1 because the absolute value of -1 is 1. Then 1.3 came next, came third. Fourth on my list was 2. And fifth on my list was the absolute value of -2.7. Remember, because that has the value of +2.7. Okay? Awesome. So we've reviewed 3 things. You're going to see these on your quiz today, and they're really important for you to understand so that you're ready for 7th grade. We reviewed what absolute value is, as well as its notation, and we did some examples for solving it. We also compared values using inequality symbols. We also ordered numbers and the absolute value of numbers in order from least to greatest. Okay. In the space below, what I want you to do, the question I want you to answer, the big question of the day, I want you to answer, what is absolute value? Okay. We gave a definition in our notes, so you should be all set to go. Awesome. You guys are going to rock your quiz today. Be extra careful. My recommendation is to please write out, just like you would if I were with you. Go ahead and write out your work. And if you have your notes today in your webcam today, I'd also love to see your notes. Take your time on your quiz. Draw a number line. You can draw a number line probably for almost any question that asks you to compare the value of 2 numbers, including just negative and positive numbers. You may want to write yourself a note, and you can go back to your notes from earlier about which sign was, this is a greater than symbol, and which one is a less than symbol, in case you're getting tricked or mixing those up. It's a really easy thing to do. Okay, you guys rocked it today. Great job. Good luck on your quiz. And maybe hours today, you can get a little bit of extra help. Bye, guys.